great country can help smooth out those rough roads in life. Thanks for listening.
KYET, AM Stereo 1170.
So you heard that right, AM Stereo 1170, and I've featured this station in one other video, and it's out in Arizona. And I read recently that the gentleman that owns this station is a mine inspector, and I'm sure he would love to know that I'm out here to explore abandoned mines. I would be very interested in meeting and talking to this gentleman. It'd be awesome to get a little tour of the station. Of course, AM stereo is something that was sort of popular at one time. A lot of car radios had it. I have a 92 Explorer with a stock radio, and it picks up the AM stereo. The vehicle I'm in right now does not do AM stereo. But anyway, yeah, you heard it right. And I actually like the format too. We had, when I was growing up in LA, we had 93.9 KZLA, which played all this same late 70s, early 80s country stuff. So I believe the station drops to 1 watt at night. And of course, it's probably going to power down pretty quick now because the sun's about to hit the horizon. So we'll have to see how this GE performs. It sounds good. I don't think the sensitivity is that great.
Classic Country with BJ Thomas. Raindrops just keep falling on my head. How you doing tonight? I'm Chris Carson. Right now it's Barbara Mandrell, sleeping single in a double bed.
If you've got a woman, you better treat her.
Whoever's engineering this station really cares about audio quality. I mean, this thing sounds great. Now, I'll take into account that I'm out
You're listening to Classic Country. This is Ronnie Millsap. What a difference you've made in my life.
Well, the sun has completely gone over the horizon there, so I'm expecting them to cut back any minute. They dropped the power, of course, for night. It's a regulation if you're not a clear channel station. And I don't want to sit here and record the next 30 minutes waiting because I don't know what time, but it's 6:42.
Hold your beer and turn up your radio. More great country on the way.
KYET, AM Stereo 1170.
There's a tear in my beer, 'cause I'm...
Classic Country with Hank Jr. Here's a tear in my beer. Coming up, Vince Gill and Waylon Jennings.
You know your closet well, but what does it sound like? Yes, your closet. Does it whisper your taste? Does it scream your taste? The new Stitch Fix Freestyle.
There, it just dropped power.
Gets to know your unique style.
Right at 6:45.
Only the looks and trends you love. With a store that evolves alongside your taste, your closet will scream, so you, without
But I'm still getting it. That's pretty good.
Stitch Fix Freestyle for women and men, your personalized store.
If that's 1 watt, I don't know how far it is from me, but
If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you.
so to give you an idea here of the sunset, this is when they cut power, and I don't know how they determine it. I don't know if it's determined in like 15-minute increments or how they do it. But there you go. There's the sunset. 1964 GE P925 AM shortwave radio. This was General Electric's entry into the civil defense underground bunker survival fallout shelter market. A lot of manufacturers made radios for this market at this time. Besides the personal backyard fallout shelters that people had, there were also some kind of public-y ones out here in the West, and a lot of them were located in abandoned underground mines. And I've actually been into a few of them that were still loaded with a lot of the preps, the water buckets, the sanitary kits, the medicine kits, the survival biscuits, the beds, the 55-gallon drums of newspaper to keep the people occupied. The videos of that are on my other channel where I explore mines and stuff. There are a few of those left out here. But anyway, this radio, you can tell for a GE, it seems to be, these are a cut above. I also heard that these were sold in like military base stores as morale boosters to keep the troops happy. So let's get into it. A friend of mine, Ryan, tipped me off to this model. Again, it's a P925. And he's been working on his, trying to get it to work. And I pulled a schematic on it, and I see a couple of capacitors. I don't know if this one works. We're going to find out right now. We got batteries here. Got some Duracrap Leakomatics. Get some of these out. You have to... this radio uses a center tapped battery setup where it does not use an audio output transformer. It's direct drive. So you have to use the batteries with the center tap. Let me get this opened up. Nice big fat external antenna connection, because of course if you're in an underground bunker you're probably going to need to run a long wire. Oh, it works. A lot of hiss. Listen to that waterfall with the volume all the way down. That's a noisy germanium transistor in the audio circuit.
Results. Now the first one, they're a listener to the
were ruined by mice. Oh no. And so, you know, 30,000. Yeah. And if that's true, and I'm not saying it is, that's true, that's going to hurt. Now they'll be able to salvage a lot of the parts that are on those trucks, but they can't pull the chips out because there wasn't any. So it's a mess. It's just a mess. Mike in Mansfield, Texas.
So what was he talking about? All those trucks they had parked in storage in those big fields waiting for chips. The mice ate all the wiring, all the soy-based wiring.
With him, all things are possible. 15 pounds on it. And
interest rates are going to go up.
This is what used to be LA Oldies. So it sounds distorted.
고통을 받던 한인 19,000명을 구제하는 법안이 연방 하원을 통과했습니다. 미주 한인 유권자 연대에 따르면 어제 하원
We ran the numbers in 2019 before mortgage rates collapsed to the lowest level.
Sought after quarterback in the portal. It's hard, and you probably need the truck. But
I don't necessarily really need it. I'm not. It's not urgent that I have it. I have another. de la economía. Por eso el crecimiento.
Okay, let's get it open and check it out. It doesn't sound as good as it should, and it's not as sensitive as it should be. Could try shortwave. Nothing. Let's get into it and take a look. Definitely for GE, very well built. I mean, GE really would cut corners in this era on just junk, but this is not quite that. They use the little daughter board construction, which right here, this little separate board is the IF. This little separate board is the audio. You have two electrolytics here that are suspect. These two. You have a preamp, a driver, which drives this transformer. Then you have your audio output that drive the speaker directly. You can see the center tapped battery there, which means the power switch has to have two switches inside of it. So these electrolytics are known to be garbage. These black plastic, they crack and they dry out. These daughter boards are very difficult to work on. Sort of the hardest thing to do with these is get them off to service them. So the way I've just started doing is I just crush the components and just solder them right on top. This is the IF here, and it that right there is a going to be your AVC filter capacitor. That would cause a bunch of squealing. Let me see if I can test any of these with the capacitor meter. Too bad it's not a 3-gang tuning condenser with tuned RF. You can see it's got nice ceramic trimmers. It's got some higher quality mica capacitors. It's definitely not your average mid-60s transistor radio. They went above on this one. I checked the capacitors, and there's only 4 of them here, and they're actually good. I checked them with the capacitor meter, and yeah, the ESR is good on them. The noise is going to either be this transistor or this transistor. Most likely the first one. What I mean by first one is, let me show you the schematic here. So you see the way this is put together, the IF module and the audio module, and then down here they show you the module. So we have the audio in there, and we have one capacitor. This TR1 is most likely the noisy transistor, and then we have the other capacitor, and then the driver that drives the transformer, and that comes back and drives into the bases of the audio output transistors. So I am not going to screw with changing one of these transistors with this daughter board set up with just a little bit of hiss the way this is.
And we'll see about Zoma and how healthy he is.
The distortion and rattle appear to be the speaker.
That many points against. But I also wonder,
all I do is touch it.
The offensive line, we all saw the 9, and we know the front line of the Rams and how imposing they can be. That's, I think, what's
and the distortion clears up, and the rattle stops. So it needs a speaker, which is kind of a bummer because this is a 12 ohm speaker. Ohm speaker, because they're driving it directly. They're not using an audio output transformer to couple See what I mean? They're driving it directly there off the transistors. So, mixed bag here. I don't really want to do anything to this thing. I kind of like it. I kind of like it all original. Let me play with the shortwave some more and see if I can get that to work. Okay, I think on shortwave, I think it's just the switch. And this is not going to be very good on shortwave. You have 4 to 12 megahertz covered in half a turn here. Try something. God, it is picky. Okay, that's the oscillator. Man, is that a touchy... Let me do this. Not good. It's just, it's too wide. Not a good shortwave radio. You know, transoceanic would have what, 4 bands in that, or 5 bands in that same range to cover that.
For the future, Yankee Stadium. Deal with their clients. 622691007 or email us with your...
I know I have to take it to the desert at the end of this video and see how it performs. I don't think it's going to touch the Sony TFM 1000.
I hinted at a little.
See, but most people don't even think about the health of their souls.
Move your...
AM 1230 우리 방송은 오렌지 카운티에서.
So anyway, not much of a video here. Wish it didn't work. Instead of a crappy rubbing speaker. We'll take it out to the desert. compare it to the Sony TFM 1000, which is a new standard. So if I was working on one of these and I had no or very little audio, I would suspect one of those two or both of those capacitors right there. If I had really bad squealing, I would suspect that capacitor right there. That capacitor right there, just sort of poor bass and overall bad performance. These seem to be good. I guess maybe this was kept in a climate controlled whatever. And they all test good, so too bad the speaker's rubbing.